$3 million this next season. The Houston Rockets gave Chris Paul a huge deal earlier this month. Today, did the same restricted free agent Clint Capela. League sources tell our Adrian Wojnarowski that it's a 5-year deal worth $90 million. Capela was a huge part of Houston's run to Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals against the Warriors, setting career highs in points, boards, blocks per game while shooting a league best 65% from the field. Brian Windhorst joins me now from Team USA practices in Las Vegas, where they have ended. How about this, though? Someone who's not a member of the team made an appearance, Carmelo Anthony. Brian, why was Melo there?
Yeah, technically not yet a member of the team, but certainly acting like he's soon going to be a Houston Rocket. Came here to see potential new teammates, James Harden and Eric Gordon, take part in the workouts today. Also spent some time with now former teammate Russell Westbrook. And, you know, I talked to some guys who are around the Rockets, and they're pretty excited about getting Carmelo into the fold. And Melo wanting to take a step. He's been a long-time member of Team USA. He doesn't need to come by here to prove anything, but obviously made it a priority to come and have some dialogue with his potential new teammates.
And it sounds like that's going to happen. But Brian, the Melo-Mike D'Antoni experiment, we know it failed miserably 6 years ago with the Knicks. And Melo, I mean, he shows no signs of changing the fact that he's not okay coming off the bench. So that said, among other things, why does anybody think it can work this time?
Well, Melo didn't speak to the media today, but I spent some time talking to Jim Boeheim, his coach at Syracuse, who is still very much in touch with him. And he said he and Melo have talked, and one of the things that the Rockets pitched to him was, hey, you know, trust in what Mike D'Antoni can do. He's made a lot of players better. He's found the strengths and figured out how to make them good players. Trust Chris Paul, who's one of the guys who gets the most out of any player in the league. And he said, look, and I know this is what people have said before, but this is something that Melo is now thinking about, is go back to being Olympic Melo, which is a role player who can come in and be a sniper off the bench or in a starting role, score points in a limited role. And I really do think, even though that's something Melo has not talked about in the past, that that's part of what Chris Paul, James Harden, and Mike D'Antoni have sold him on in becoming a Houston Rocket.
I cannot wait to see how his role does play out there in Houston. Brian, you mentioned yesterday how impressed you were with Paul George, and that continued today as he works his way back from arthroscopic knee surgery that he had in May. Here's what Paul said about that.
Well, I think this step, me being in camp, I originally wasn't supposed to do a lot of contact, but I wanted to see where I was at, and I wanted to push myself. But you know, I was mindful. If anything hurt, if anything popped up, that I was going to sit out and take my time. But everything felt great enough to be out there and compete and play. And, it was just about trying to push and gain some trust. It's my first time doing anything live. So a lot of it was trying to knock off some rust and get back into like a basketball flow.
Brian, I know you've been watching Paul George closely. What's your take?
He was even more impressive today, Sage. Stayed after the workout and played one-on-one games with guys like Kevin Durant and Victor Oladipo, and they were intense. I know he says he's not 100%, but he was going full bore, and especially for a guy who just signed a huge new contract who you wouldn't think would push himself, Paul George looks very, very good, and I think very good sign for Thunder fans come the fall.
Interesting. You say he and Oladipo going at it hard, huh?
Yes, your favorite Pacer, two guys who were traded for each other last summer. No hard feelings, going full bore. Oladipo was diving on the floor during scrimmages today. He doesn't take it easy either.
Typical Oladipo. That's the way we like to see it. Brian Windhorst, thank you so much. Glad you enjoyed your time. It's been 2 years since Kevin Durant left Oklahoma City for the Golden State Warriors. You may recall that he received plenty of criticism for that decision. But after back-to-back championships and back-to-back finals MVP awards, KD, I think he's okay with that decision. Recently, he was on a podcast hosted by Blazers guard C.J. McCollum. Listen to what C.J. said about the Warriors landing Boogie Cousins.
You know how I felt, bro. I was hot. I don't know if I was more mad than when you went to Golden. I think I was more mad.
Why are you mad about this stuff?
Bro, I'm in the league. What do you mean? Why am I mad about this?
I mean,
I'm in the Western Conference. I got to play you MFers. all the time anyway, as it is, over and over again. We done got eliminated by y'all a few times in the first round. So I'm looking at Cuz.
You know you guys aren't going to win a championship.
Bro, we have the team. We have capabilities. Anything is possible. We can win a championship.
That's just cold.
Kevin was just laughing at that thought. And then on Twitter last night, things escalated after McCollum replied to a tweet using the word soft to describe Kevin Durant's decision to join Golden State 2 years ago. Durant responded by saying in part, you think that low of me, CJ? I just did your bleeping podcast. Snakes in the grass, boy, I tell ya. End quote. And then just this afternoon, KD was asked about it at Team USA's practice in Las Vegas. Here's Kevin Durant.
Was that all fun, or was it?
What you thought it was?
It seemed a little more serious.
Why?
Just because it seemed like you were upset.
Why me?
Because of what he had said when he answered that other tweet.
So why isn't he upset?
He doesn't seem to be upset now.
So why am I upset?
I don't know. I mean, I just thought when you put the...
You did his podcast.
And you called it the effing podcast and the snake.
But so I'm the upset one because he responded to something I said.
Well, it seemed like he was almost saying something about you, and then you responded to that.
Yeah, but he didn't have to say something about it.
No.
Okay, so how am I upset?
He went first.
Exactly.
I just saying
And then you're upset and he went first.
So CJ's not upset, but I am. You got something to say, don't get mad because I say something, and then you catch feelings. I call you out on it, and I'm insecure, and everybody running with it. Now people come to me like, damn, man, I didn't know you were so cool when they meet me in person. Why? Because what y'all say. But that goes for everybody around here. Y'all say about them, they don't say nothing, and they just keep adding on. But I'm the one. I just talk. I say how I feel.
Hi, Brian Windhorst, live in Las Vegas for Team USA basketball minicamp. Brian joining us now live. Okay, first of all, Kevin did a great job flipping that interview on the reporter. Leave that alone. But he knew exactly what he was doing when he tweeted out that stuff last night. You tell me, how legitimate is this beef between KD and CJ?
KD, you mad, bro? I mean, what's going on here? We're not even talking about practice. At a practice, we're talking about tweets. He says he and CJ will be fine. They'll have a glass of red wine together later this summer. It's all ado about nothing. What he wasn't happy about, Sage, was the fact that people were making a big deal about it. He says that people in the media react to what he says on social media, and they make him look insecure. And I would say, Kevin, you're a two-time champ. Two-time Finals MVP, regular season MVP. Stop worrying about what people say. Maybe you are insecure about it. But I will say this, if that's what we're talking about on USA minicamp day, I think his life's okay.
Yeah, I think so. But again, when he says, hey, snakes in the grass, boy, he means exactly what he says. And of course, people are going to react. He's the two-time Finals MVP. Okay, to your point, a lot on the court going on, thank goodness. What were some of your big takeaways from today, Brian?
Yeah, I thought, we all forget that not only Paul George signed a big contract this summer, he also had knee surgery back in May, yet he was out on the court today looking great, Sage. He was doing full contact, moving all around the court, playing offense, playing defense. I thought Paul George was maybe one of the highlights on the court today, and definitely a good sign for the Thunder. Also out there today, the MVP, James Harden, looking very trim and very aggressive. He told us that he hasn't been able to stop thinking about Game 7, and he's been practicing and working out almost every day since that terrible loss to the Warriors where he struggled so badly, and it shows he is in great shape. Also, he said he's been communicating with Carmelo Anthony on a regular basis, expects him to sign in the next few days. Now, also, Kyrie Irving was not on the court today, Sage, but very good news from him. He has been cleared after those 2 knee surgeries in the spring that knocked him out of the playoffs. He's been cleared for basketball activities. He's doing one-on-one drills again, and is on track indeed to play with the Celtics at the start of training camp. So very good news on the Kyrie Irving front for the Celtics from Team USA.
All right, Brian Windhorst with the very latest from Las Vegas. You behave out there, Wendy.
Indians win 4-0. Speaking of winners.
Yeah, Zubin, how about this? Antonio Brown showed up to camp in a helicopter. How cool is this? KD rolls like this. Mug on an Alaska airplane. He was welcoming a youth team at the airport in Oaktown today. C.J. McCollum is not happy about that. Mark Spears spoke with the two-time NBA champ.
Loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a perfect decision, perfect move. Did everything he's supposed to do in Cleveland. I think this is a perfect next step for him. And he's kind of breaking down the barriers of what an NBA superstar is supposed to be. You know, you feel like you're supposed to just, play it out in one spot. I think he did a good job of giving you different chapters, and it's going to make his book even more interesting when it's done.
Now, with DeMarcus, did DeMarcus reach out to you? How did you first hear about Cousins being interested in the Warrior? And I'm sure you were a little shocked by it.
Yeah, definitely. We all were. I got a call that morning, I think, from Bob, and just said it's a possibility, and I'm like, no way. And then I went to the movies throughout the day, and I got like 3 or 4 calls in the movies I had to ignore. And then when I got out, it said it was finalized, and I FaceTimed DeMarcus, and I was just so excited because I knew how important this time was for DeMarcus to find a team, find somebody that's going to, help him kind of, get through this injury first and then, play his best basketball. So I think it's going to be perfect for both spots, for him and for us.
For a guy who's constantly dealing with hate, what did you think about all the hate that came from you guys getting Cousins?
Well, it was expected. I mean, nobody likes a great thing. I mean, greatness is rare, so, it's different, and people don't like different. So I get it. But I think for DeMarcus, I liked his approach. I liked our approach to it, just coming in and just wanting to be about basketball. And, once you look at it that way, then it works out perfectly.
So how do you guys make it work, one ball and all that talent?
Throwing the ball when you got a mismatch. Throw me the ball when I got a mismatch. Clay open for a 3, pass it. Steph, pick and roll, do your thing. Draymond play defense. We'll figure it out.
Help me figure this one out, Kevin. Vince Carter still in the league. 21st year. 1 year, $2.4 million deal with the Atlanta Hawks. He's going to be more of a veteran presence. The draft yielded the Hawks 3 guys, including Trae Young. So this is a good little savvy move to have, like on the road, teach you how to be a pro type thing, right?
Look, he keeps himself in great shape. I mean, so a lot of guys could learn from someone like him.
No question. He has now been with 8 NBA teams the second he puts on that Hawks jersey in the regular season opener. Raptors, Nets, Magic, Suns, Mavericks, Grizzlies, Kings, and now the Hawks. Unbelievable. 228 players have played with Vince Carter.
And we talked about career earnings, 182, right?
182. Or basically what Steph got in his last contract, plus like $40 million. Vince, you were born in the wrong year, so what can I tell you? He was drafted on June 24th, 1998, shaking the old commissioner's hand. Look at that. He was drafted, and then following that, like 3 months later, Trae Young was born. This is what people will always remember. This is why they called him Vinsanity. I mean, this is Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins, Dr. J level type stuff. Unbelievable. 03 All-Star game in the ATL, giving Jordan a starting spot when Jordan was with the Wizards about to say goodbye. And a decade and a half later, he is back. By the way, 03 is when LeBron and Carmelo came into the league. So you got to think about he's still here 15 years after that. All smiles for
Raptors. However, he's decided not to participate in Team USA's minicamp this week in Las Vegas. But again, past the physical, that's a big deal considering what happened with him last season. As for the man the Raptors traded for, Kawhi, quite the week. Chris Haynes talked with DeMar DeRozan.
Oh, man, it was a blur. It was a dream. Still kind of feel, like a dream right now. But it's been tough. Had his roller coasters up and down, just trying to get acclimated to, changing teams.
How do you feel you were treated, particularly by Masai Ujiri?
I felt like I wasn't treated with what I sacrificed for 9 years, with the respect that I thought I deserved. By just giving me the say-so of letting me know something's going on, or it's a chance. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. I'm not saying you don't have to train me, or you just let me know something going on, because I sacrificed everything. Just let me know. You know what I mean? And that's all I ask. You know what I mean? I never. Everybody know I'm the most low-maintenance person in the world. Just let me know, so I can prepare myself for whatever my next chapter is. And I didn't get that.
You can tell this still stings for DeMar DeRozan. He ends his Raptors career as one of the most productive players in franchise history. He's their all-time leader in games played as well as points scored. He's also top 5 in steals, assists, and rebounds, and was certainly a fan favorite for the Raptors fans.
Durant surprised 80 high schoolers from Los Angeles and Oakland, taking them to Las Vegas to compete in the Bigfoot Hoops Las Vegas Classic, a tournament that helped propel his career. They went on board an Alaska Airlines Kevin Durant Boeing 737. Nike was tied to the event as part of an activation of Durant's latest signature shoe, the KD11. Also today, Durant spoke exclusively with our Mark Spears about the biggest storylines this summer around the league, starting with LeBron picking the Lakers.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a perfect decision, perfect move. Did everything he's supposed to do in Cleveland. I think this is a perfect next step for him. And he's kind of breaking down the barriers of what an NBA superstar is supposed to be. You know, you feel like you're supposed to just, play it out in one spot. I think he did a good job of giving you different chapters, and it's going to make his book even more interesting when it's done.
Now, with DeMarcus, did DeMarcus reach out to you? How did you first hear about Cousins being interested in the Warrior? And I'm sure you were a little shocked by it.
Yeah, definitely. We all were. I got a call that morning, I think, from Bob, and just said it's a possibility, and I'm like, no way. And then I went to the movies throughout the day, and I got like 3 or 4 calls in the movies I had to ignore. And when I got out, it said it was finalized, and I FaceTimed DeMarcus, and I was just so excited because I knew how important this time was for DeMarcus to find a team, find somebody that's going to, help him kind of, get through this injury first and then, play his best basketball. So I think it's going to be perfect for both spots, for him and for us.
For a guy who's constantly dealing with hate, what did you think about all the hate that came from you guys getting Cousins?
Well, it was expected. I mean, nobody likes a great thing. I mean, greatness is rare, so, it's different, and people don't like different. So I get it. But I think for DeMarcus, I liked his approach. I like our approach to it, just coming in and just wanting to be about basketball. And, once you look at it that way, then it works out perfectly.
So how do you guys make it work with one ball and all that talent?
Throwing the ball when you got a mismatch. Throw me the ball when I got a mismatch. If Clay open for a 3, pass it. Steph pick and roll, do your thing. Draymond play defense. We'll figure it out.
Prediction, plenty of mismatches, especially when you see the Warriors with this all-star team. The addition of Boogie, the Warriors have 5 All-Stars from last season. According to Elias, the last team 5 All-Stars from the previous season, the 1975-76 Celtics, which went on to win the title.